Friday, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate. It's that simple. My name is Rick Garcia, along with the real estate veteran Phil Nordella. And hello, Phil.
Hey.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I have not seen you for a
haven't-
long time.
Yeah. So
many,
you
many
were
miles.
You were out of country, I guess.
and if I could hear myself, that would be awesome.
All right. Let me.
Just
Let's
saying.
hang on here. Let's go.
Oh,
let's-
hey.
Is that better?
Hey, Rick. Oh, it's you.
Where'd you go?
It is Rick.
I took a small wee trip to Europe. We started in Prague,
Yeah.
which was cool. I've been there before. It was awesome. And there was a movie done, which I really liked. It was called The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah.
Uh-huh.
And we watch it 4 or 5 times every Christmas time. And they go to an area in that movie called Karlovy Vary.
Uh-huh.
And they have a hotel there called the Grand Hotel Poop.
Oh.
And it's a true hotel.
Yeah.
And it's in a gorgeous area.
It looks beautiful in the movie.
And your
pictures.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we were there, and then we went from there to Vienna. We went from Vienna to Florence, and Florence to Rome. And
Did you listen to your show while you were out there?
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
That was what was so strange. I actually only went there for one reason. That was to check the app.
Because we talk about the KHTS radio app all the time, Patrick, right? And
Yeah,
and so
all the time.
we say
All the time.
we always say on all of the Rick Garcia shows that you can listen anywhere in the world, and we weren't kidding, right, Phil?
We're not kidding.
And believe it or not, I memorized exactly how many miles I was away from Santa Clarita when I listened to the show.
Okay.
2,896 miles away from Santa Clarita.
Holy cow, man.
Do we sound
And it
as
worked.
good that far away?
Actually, no.
Oh.
Aw.
In fact, you sound kind of like a chipmunk.
Oh.
Yeah, which is bizarre. No, I'm kidding.
Are you sure it wasn't me talking?
Well, it
I'm
sounds like
kidding.
you had a good time, and
You know what? Absolutely.
glad.
And hey, I want to give a shout out to Lance, my son-in-law. It's Lance Stixel. It's your birthday today.
Aw.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And by the way, because he's over there in West LA, he's listening on the KHTS app
That's
right
right.
now.
You,
Heyo.
again, you could because
So-
you can listen anywhere in the world.
In the world.
And West LA is still in the world.
It
That
could
is
be
the-
30
that's still part of
miles.
the
It could be 2,896.
Wow, there you
Yeah.
go.
Happy
All right.
birthday, Lance. Can't wait to see you. We love you and can't wait to see you guys on Sunday.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome.
How about some numbers?
SCV. By the numbers.
By the numbers. Yay.
Child labor laws, aren't there, in this state? I'm not sure we can do that, can we?
Well, we did.
All right.
We did. Okay. Hey, so the last show, which feels like a month ago.
Yes.
However, it wasn't. We had 334 listings in Santa Clarita, and believe it or not, it's pretty close today. We've got 325. However, everything is extremely busy right now, which is terrific, and I think it has to do with the fact that interest rates are crazy low. But I'll get into that in a second. So we've got 325 active listings, active under contracts and pendings. Last time was 421. Now it's 492.
Wow.
So it's picking up big time.
Okay.
Closed in the last 30 days. It was 203 in the last 30 days closed, and now it's 257. So that's big time. It's picking up.
Okay.
And again, it's the thing is everything that's being held back so far when it comes to interest rates that now people are understanding. In fact, I've got something here from Marla Ferris from Augusta Financial. She always gives me her State of the Union address on Thursday nights before the show. And I asked her, I said, so are things good? And she goes, just when you thought rates couldn't get any lower, this week was epic.
Wow.
She says, 22 years in the business and I've never seen rates this low.
Okay, what are they?
30-year fixed, 3.25.
Wow. Oh, my God. I might have to think about refinancing.
You know what? Everyone is. I mean, she's swamped and she's loving
well, no,
it.
but think about it. When everything got as low as 4, we thought, oh, my gosh, you're never going to see that
Crazy.
again. And here we are.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jumbo 30-year fixed, 3.625, which is incredible. FHA VA is 3%.
Wow.
3%. 15-year fixed, 3%. 7-year adjustable rate mortgage is 2.875. So if you're thinking of actually just moving and you're going to only be here in California for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that's not a bad way to go. You actually save a lot of money. And also, here's an interesting statistic. Did you know, when you just said something about refinancing,
Yeah.
did you know that only 27% of mortgage holders know what their interest rate is?
That is shocking. to
I'm
me.
guilty.
Yeah. Really?
I don't
See,
know
I've
what
always paid attention to my mortgage rate, yeah. For that reason, because if it ever dropped to a point where I thought about, And I'm not suggesting that refinancing is always a good idea, but if you ever want to save money each month and you feel like you're going to be in your home a long
Absolutely.
time, then you should refinance.
And I can tell you right now, the closest I'm going to get is I know mine's in the fours.
Okay.
That's about
Then
it.
you need to refinance.
I think I do. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so hey, I think it's time for.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh my God. This part gets me. I can't sleep at night.
You know what? I got to tell you something. I hate to say it, but I love this part of the business because when stuff goes sideways, it either is tragic, and usually it is tragic in the beginning, and then eventually, hopefully, you get over it and you move on, and then sometimes it becomes funny. Here's my Tales from the Dark Side this time, and this is really important for people to actually take heed because a lot of the Tales from the Dark Side, it'll never happen to you. However, this is something that I remember because I still own an actual percentage of an escrow company. And when this first came out, it was big time. And what happened is there's a lot of people that will the phishing scam.
Sure.
We were just talking about it. What they do is they start to figure out a way to monitor emails going back and forth from clients to escrow companies and closing companies and all of these things. And so here's a young family here. I'm actually looking at it's from Inman. I'm not going to use their names because it sounds like they're trying to. It sounds like they're actually trying to see if they can't position themselves for a lawsuit. And I'm looking at it going, I don't think you got a case. Young family loses life savings of $775,000 in escrow wire fraud scam.
That's awful.
So here's what they did. You have communications during an actual transaction with the escrow company, and you go back and forth, and the information is important. However, eventually it gets to the point where the escrow company usually says, it's time to wire some funds now. And those could be $10,000 for a deposit. It could be 20% for your down payment. It could be cash for the whole home that you're buying. So what they did was, and here's where it gets weird, is they said after months of looking with a trusted agent, they found a home in which they wanted to live with their 1-year-old son. That's fine. Going back and forth with the escrow, right? They then said that they had received an email from their escrow company. A few days earlier, all of their personal bank account information lined up when it came to getting the information back and forth from the escrow company. Then they receive an email out of the blue saying it's time for you to send us your funds. Now, did they check on it? Did they call the escrow company? Did they say, hey, is this right? They didn't do any of those things. The couple had confirmed the transfer within the bank with the bank and arranged for a notary. It was only a few days after transferring the money that the couple realized that they had underpaid by a small amount and contacted the company to correct it. As they would later discover, a hacker had somehow gained access to their information and sent out a fake email, and all the money had gone to an unidentified receiver. They were saying, well, this is the escrow company's fault. And, I'm not sure whether it is or not, but it's one of those things to where there's so many situations in place to where this doesn't happen. By the way, if you wonder what happened to the money, it went from California, because this was in San Diego, went from California to Texas to Singapore, and there it was broken into bitcoins and is now impossible to trace.
So before you tell people how they can avoid this, I'll just remind people what phishing is all about. It's PHI phishing, and it's something that, because we do so many business transactions through the internet, that scammers and hackers have gotten really good, and it is probably I think maybe more common in the real estate industry than any other. I remember having to deal with a situation where I had something sent to me during the middle of a real estate transaction. Some of us are old enough to remember when they called you from the escrow company and said, here's what you need to do. You go to the bank and you wire and you do. Because we do everything on the internet, I think we have a false sense of security about what we can do on the internet. So that's a huge mistake, number one. Number two, they're so good at these scams. You'll get an email from Phil Nordella. In my case, maybe it comes from Phil Nordella to me, my dear friend, saying, hey, here's something I want you to look at, and you open a link, and the next thing you know, you've corrupted your computer, or maybe worse, you've agreed to send something. And this happened, by the way, to one of the hosts of the show Shark Tank, a very popular show that is a Mark Cuban show, and they go on there and they. But one of the hosts there does lots of real estate. She's made a lot of her money real estate wise. Very smart person. She lost almost $400,000. The bottom line is, you get an email from somebody that involves sending money. You want to call up that person. Don't email them and say, "Is this your email address?" Call them and say, "Did you send me an email? Here's what it looks like. Here's what it sounds like."
Yep.
One of the most common mistakes that are made in phishing that allows you to catch a mistake is they misspell. Many of the
Yes.
hackers will
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
one letter
absolutely.
off. It could be off of your name. It could be your address could be a little off. So that's a good way to catch a phishing scam. And you want to delete that stuff right
Still
away.
to this day, I receive a couple of emails that look real. And I'm like, is this real? I mean, can it be? It's like, okay, your account has been closed down for something because of Netflix or something. And you're like, I know. And I always have to call usually my kids and go, okay, I know what's right and what's wrong. This one looks great. Should I open it? No, just don't.
But we get lazy sometimes,
no,
and we
yeah,
in our hurry
And
to get
curiosity,
through our
too.
day, and curiosity sometimes.
Yep.
But now there is a way in real estate to protect yourself against that, right?
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny because this came so prevalent probably 10 years ago that we really had to watch out for it. And so when it came to my company, we actually talked to every single one of the realtors, and we said, this is what's going to happen, and this is what you have to do. Well, it got to the point where it got to be so big to where they actually came out with a separate contract, and it's called the Wire Fraud and Electronic Funds Transfer Advisory. And it's just another one if you wonder why your escrow paperwork is 4 inches thick when it comes to your file. This is another one, the wire fraud. And it basically spells everything out. Now, when she was saying actually that she had a trusted agent, her agent, I blame him or her. And it's strictly because of the fact that this should have been gone over and over and over. When I sit down with a client, I go, you know what, here's the situation. There's going to be times where money's going to actually leave your bank account and go probably to escrow or whatever. Nothing can do that without you talking to me first. Nothing. Okay, and that's just the way I control it.
Yeah.
And so I've never, ever had that problem. But it's scary. It's scary.
So, by the way, if you're a realtor listening right now and you
Yes.
have not been pointing out this part of a listing agreement or a sales contract,
Yep.
you better.
And here's one of the issues. The issue is a lot of times when you send out contracts, you send them via DocuSign, which means you're not there to explain them.
Right.
And that's really bad. So there are certain contracts that no matter what, you've got to sit down with the people and you've got to say, look, even though I sent this to you DocuSign, I got to make sure you understand exactly what this is and how important it is. So that's kept me from ever having a problem, and I'm hoping that I won't have a problem in the future. But some people do. The other thing, the little codicil to this whole thing, which I find interesting, is these people put $775,000 down on a property, and if it was 20%, that was $1 million. I don't know how many millions of dollars, the $3 or $4 million home. And the parents, I thought, were really nice because they started a GoFundMe for their kids, even though they were buying a $3.5 million house.
Well, but that was all they had, right? I mean,
Well, that's what it says.
So they're not going to be able to afford a $3 million home anymore.
That's
right?
what it says. Yeah. So anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. But that's
Tales from the dark side. Phishing, something to look out for. It's something you really want to pay close attention to. You have some other numbers there? Is that it for this point?
That's it.
If not, okay. Let's remind folks about your how they can reach you. There are various ways to get in touch with Phil Nordella. And that's
If you want a little information about me, but you don't want to talk to me, I think that's rude, but it's okay.
by the way, this is the way I communicate with him. Is I don't talk to him. Go ahead.
Just get online. It's philnordella.com, PhilNordella.com. It'll give you all the information about me, about my group. We've got a lot of really great realtors. I still train realtors. We do things are terrific.
Great looking team behind you here. If you're watching on
look at
Facebook
that.
Live,
Yeah,
you can
and that's
see.
that's just a small portion
Sure.
of them, but it's a good group.
So now, if you want to buy or sell with Phil Nordella and Associates, that's one way to do it. What if you're a realtor, and you've been thinking about your future and whether you're in the right place?
I've been training agents for the last 25 years, and I really, really enjoy it. And it's unfortunate because so many agents will sign on with some of these companies, and they'll have a trainer or a manager or something, and they just don't have the time or wherewithal to actually spend the time to turn newer agents into productive agents. Well, my job was always taking a brand new agent, turning him into something that's productive, or turning a productive agent into somebody who's very productive or a high producer. In my third year, I sold over 100 homes, and that's unheard of. But it's because I had so much training before when I owned my burglar alarm company, right? And I went into home after home after home talking to people. And so that's the situation. 9 out of 10 fail. If you are a realtor out there and you're not seeing the type of results that you want, just call me, 661-312-3561, and we can talk about turning you into the productive agent that you want, because not only is it rewarding, it's very, you can make a lot of money selling real estate.
Okay.
All righty?
You let that secret out.
You
All right,
betcha.
coming up, one of the stresses of buying and selling is boy, I got to move. I've got to move. And we have just the person to help talk about how we can make that easy and less stressful for you when we come back. Real estate, it's that simple.
Yay!
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
The minute I open my door,
Debbie Morris has a problem.
I say, oh my gosh,
A really big problem.
the dog, the cat, my 3-year-old.
Debbie's house is a mess.
How can one family create this disaster?
Debbie needs Made for You.
I need help.
Professional residential and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule: weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is a net from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets a net at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of homeownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and top knowledge to help make your loan experience hassle-free. Given her honesty, integrity, and attention to detail, she is the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get you the best loan, the best rate, and the best service in the industry. You'll find Marla Ferris at Marla, FERRIS.com.
Let's talk about insurance. Are your rates skyrocketing year after year? Or do you feel like you would benefit from a professional advisor that works for you? Give the great team at Voy Insurance Solutions a call. Voy works with dozens of the best insurance companies to help you obtain competitive rates and comprehensive coverage. Homeowners, auto, business, and life insurance. Voy Insurance. Right price, right coverage, right now. Mention the Phil Nordella Show and get a free $10 Starbucks card. Visit voyinsurance.com. That's voinsurance.com.
My name is Frank. I'm the proud owner and operator of Braveheart Termite and Pest Control. I've been doing this for over 25 years. Call me for your termite needs and concerns. If you're in real estate and need a quality home inspection, call me today. You'll have those reports same day or within 24 hours. I will help you solve your issue with what needs to be done and nothing extra. Call me so you can have freedom from termites. 661-373-2617. That's 373-2617.
If you're looking for an SCV-based home design firm you can trust, look no further. Style My Space is a recognized leader in luxury vacant home staging and interior design projects for all of northern Los Angeles County since 2006. Their 5-star reputation for beautiful staging installations helps sellers realize up to 10% higher offers in as little as 1/3 the time as non-staged homes. Get an instant quote on our website at stylemyspace.com. That's stylemyspace.com.
KHTS, your hometown station.
Welcome back to Real Estate It's That Simple. My name is Rick Garcia. I'm here with real estate veteran Phil Nordella of Phil Nordella and Associates. And, there's so much stress that goes into buying and selling and moving and all that stuff. But moving has to be at the top of the list. I don't know what it is about it. None of us looks forward to having to pack things up. And, I mean, we're happy when it's over. And nothing, I think, is more valuable than having somebody that can make that easy on you.
Yep.
And that leads us to our first guest, Kelly Kirkman, who's the co-owner and vice president of Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Hi, Kelly. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. We've known Casey and Kelly for a long time. We've had a great relationship forever. And you've actually, so let me just ask you this real quick. So AQMS, obviously, is what everybody knows you by. Has been in business for over 22 years, and you guys took it over in 2006.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's how's that go? I mean, obviously it's going terrific because you guys are awesome. But how's
it's going? It's good now. In 2006, we were at the beginning of weathering a pretty tough storm.
Scary.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden 2008 hit, and it was
Yes.
like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
What have we done?
Right. Yeah. So Casey bought it in 2006. Definitely a different market. And then I got started in 2008 with the company. So I was actually my intro to the company was, this is a struggle. This is an uphill battle. It's just so different.
And obviously you're doing something right because you've been voted best moving company for 10 years in a row.
Yeah, so I mean, and that should be, that is a nice thing for us to be able to pride ourselves on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very
How'd you get in the biz?
It's actually a funny story. So Casey had a friend that he played golf with that was a business owner, and his company was, they manufactured and distributed tires all over the world. And there was a warehouse in Santa Clarita at a moving and storage company where he stored a lot of his tires. And so that moving company was Affordable Quality Moving, and the owners were ready to retire, and so they approached Casey's friend, who, like I said, they played a lot of golf together, but they approached him and said, hey, would you be interested in buying a moving business? And so that friend approached Casey and said, hey, we've always talked about going into business together. I think this is a golden opportunity. Let's sit down and look at the numbers and see if it makes sense. And so that's really how it started. And he goes, okay, well, I don't know anything about the moving business, but I'll figure it out. And so, within, I would say a year or less, they reached a number and got all the paperwork squared away, and he was a moving company owner.
Awesome. And obviously probably the old owners stuck around a little bit to help guide them.
A little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's scary.
So, but it was good. It was a different time, and it was a small business. So it wasn't like there was this like overflow of, oh my gosh, how are we going to figure this out? So we kind of got to feel it out at a comfortable pace. And then, with Casey's energy, it was like, okay, now scale this thing. Let's grow this thing. So.
And the nice thing is you are not a small business anymore, and yet you're accessible like a small business, which is awesome. And that I appreciate.
Yeah,
because it's not often that I can call up if I have anything that I want to ask about, and then I'll get you or I'll get Casey on the golf course.
Yep, absolutely.
I just have to call. I think he's got his own phone there on
Is that
hole
part of
number
the
3.
estimate, by the way? Is that?
He's like, call Kelly.
All right. So okay. If I've decided I'm going to move, and I list my property, and then it goes into escrow and it's selling. How early in the process is it important to contact your company?
I would say 2 to 4 weeks, ideally 4 weeks, but I also understand that there's a lot of unknowns at the 4-week mark. But if you want for us to come out and do the estimate early, like the 4-week mark, that's okay, even if there's unknowns, because we'll come back out when you've solidified some of those decisions. And unknowns can be something as big as, I don't know where I'm moving to, or if I'm even going to move directly to a residence, or if I'm going to need storage. But at least it gets the kind of the traction, so to speak, of us coming out and seeing what you have, and getting you some preliminary numbers, and then we can always come back out too. But if you have all the decisions made and we come out, then we can actually get you a written quote on paper that same day, and then you've got a lot of questions answered.
You know what I love is when I go on a listing presentation, I would have to say 90% of the time, I will walk in and the house, if they've been there for any sort of length of time, the house is like full of stuff. And you look at it, and as a realtor, you go, wow, I wish that half of this stuff was out of here. And I have no problem saying, look, I can give you some ideas that will save you or make you thousands and thousands of dollars if you just let me. And they go, oh, absolutely, yeah, not a problem, not a problem. And so we usually go through and we say, in a perfect world, and I always start with, in a perfect world, let me take room by room and I'll tell you what needs to be gone. Now, when I say gone, you're going to move it anyway. It's going to go anyway. Let's move it now. We'll put it in storage. We'll put it in a little pod. Let AQMS come out. They'll put it in a pod. We'll actually give them the different things to put in. And they'll store it there. And then all of a sudden, now your 3,000 square foot house looks like a 3,000 square foot house. Because when I'm sitting there, your average 3,000 square foot house, if they've been there for 15 or 20 years, looks like a 1,500 square foot house.
Yeah.
And I it's not their fault. It's just that people accumulate. And that is something I've actually had people store stuff with you guys and turned a house to where it looks so crowded to where it looks like a model.
Yeah.
And they net so much more money, and,
Right.
and it's a really good thing.
Listen, my wife doesn't throw away anything, and that's why I know that she's going to keep me, because because she's a hoarder, frankly. And as long
Poor
as I'm
gal.
part of that,
Poor gal.
I get a little dusty sometimes. Kelly, how much of your business is the homeowner packs their own, versus how much you do the packing? What percentage would you say? Because I've always been curious. I've always thought about, in my past moves, my wife wanted to handle that, and I understand that. But I'm, on the other hand, I'm like, why don't we let them pack it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So great question. I would have to say probably 60-40, where 60% of the time people pack themselves and 40% of the time AQMS does packing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we do all the packing, although that is something that we can certainly do. Sometimes people just have specific areas that they would really rather a professional come in and do, like the kitchen, for example, or sometimes the garage is so inundating that they just can't even open that can of worms, and that's where we come in. So, and then we get into more specialty packing too as well. So there's like crating. So if you have something that's more like a high-end piece of art or something very delicate, then we can talk about building crates for that too. So it's really curtailed to specifically what each client needs.
Now, this is something that's important. Red flags. You mentioned something about the fact that there are red flags for other companies that people should look for when it comes to them getting prices and things like that. What are some of the red flags that they should look out for?
So the old additive, if it sounds too good to be true,
Right.
it probably is. Certainly applies in the moving industry. People call around and they get multiple quotes, and that's perfectly respectable and something that I do myself as a consumer. But if you're getting multiple quotes and then you get one that just sounds really, really good and it's really cheap, just be cautious of that, especially when you're moving out of state. The really important thing to do is find a moving company that's going to send somebody out to your house to do a walkthrough with you. Shake their hand. And I know we're all busy and we live in a very instant gratification type of world, right? We're Amazon and it's that at your front door the next day. So a lot of times people want to kind of get away from doing that face-to-face, but it is important because when you're moving, especially on a long distance move, you need to know what the maximum amount that you're going to spend is. And by somebody coming out and seeing it, that's really the only way to do it. So some red flags would be, oh, sorry, we don't do that. We don't have somebody that can come out and meet with you.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that is a red flag. Another red flag is them requiring a deposit. And some people think that's very normal. And in fact, some people even want to put down a deposit, which is okay, but it's important for them to know that it is absolutely not a requirement. Any reputable moving company will let their customers know as long as you pay before the shipment is unloaded. So that can be when it's in your driveway the morning of the unload. You have up until that point to make that payment. You do not have to come up with any money up front.
Now, the name of the show is Real Estate. It's that simple. Our guest is Kelly Kirkman of Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. You did mention out-of-state moves just a moment ago, and how does that process work through your company?
So really the same process. It starts as when you're moving locally. So pick up the phone, call AQMS, let them know that you're going to be moving out of state and you'd like to get a quote. The response that you're going to get is, great, we'd love to set up an estimate for you. Let's coordinate schedules and see when we can have somebody come out to meet with you. And then we'll get you on the calendar and we'll actually have a professional estimator come out to meet with you. And what we're doing at that point when we're out at your house is we're walking through the home and we're looking to see what you have that you'd like to move, if you have anything that you'd like to have packed, and we're incorporating all of that into the quote. And then we're going to follow up with you via email so you actually have that quote in writing. Once you decide if you'd like to move forward, we'll send that quote back to you again via DocuSign. You can sign off on it, and then we register your order. So for out-of-state moves, we're an agent for National Van Lines. So once that order gets registered, you're going to get an email thanking you for your business, notifying you of what your bill of lading number is, which is kind of like your order identifier, and then reconfirming the price that's been agreed to. And then we're still there for you the entire process, all the way through the end of the move. So beginning, middle, and end. You're going to get a phone call from us again confirming your move at least 48 hours prior, and then we're reachable throughout the entire process of the move.
You know, there's two things that I'm very impressed with when it comes to you being in this business, and that is how well you do your job. That's number one. Number two is what people don't understand, and it's not an easy job. Okay, these guys, it's back-breaking work. And it would be so hard for me to look at and say, okay, I'm going to show up here, I'm going to move this entire house, and guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to do it again, and the next day I'm going to do it again. It's hard for me to actually help somebody move a chair.
By the way, can you ever get anybody to help you move?
No.
I mean, think about that for a second. Can you ever call your buddies, offer them a six-pack of beer? No, in the old days that might have worked, and then they never did it again.
Always comes out of it. You know what? I would do that, but I don't know if I told you about my surgery.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing. Second thing is this what people don't understand is scheduling, because real estate, when it comes to sales and escrows and closings, those are never really written in stone until the very end. And I've got to tell you something. I've had deals that go sideways sometimes because there's just no way around it, and they get put off for a week, and everything was scheduled to go from this place, and so I feel bad, when it comes to calling you guys and saying, guess what, it's not going to be this Friday. We're looking at minimum the following Thursday, and I know you guys got to go, oh my God, okay, here's my board here, and I don't know what the heck to do. So I'm impressed with what you do.
Thank you.
That's impressive.
It's a juggling. You also do, we've been talking about residential properties. You do commercial moves as well?
We do, yeah. So we actually do quite a bit of commercial moves, and it's really essentially the same process as what you would want to do in order to prepare for a residential move, for a commercial move. So again, that on-site walkthrough is critical. Commercial moves are their own animals, so we definitely like to do that pre-move survey, so we can see what is happening, see what needs to be done, if there's any specialty equipment that needs to be called for, and those are all things that come up. And then also making sure that we have things in place like certificates of insurance and a bond, things like that are oftentimes required for commercial moves.
I bought a desk, right, and I bought it from a company that was not going out of business. They just bought it and they never used it. And this desk is like the SS Enterprise, right? And I've got an office at my house, right? It's a bonus room upstairs, and I thought, okay, and I had you guys come out and you picked it up and you wrapped it up and everything and got it there. And we looked at it for a while thinking it's not going to go upstairs. And I went, there's no way, guys, I appreciate this. I got to get a different desk. There's no way this is going upstairs because it's not going to fit through anything, right?
Right.
And they did it. They were able to take it apart and move it some way, and it took them a while, but they did it. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never get it out of there. Okay,
Just call us.
No,
We'll get it out of there.
I'll light it on fire. That's the thing.
Yes.
Awesome.
Got some tricks there.
Well,
There's something called move brokers too. Did you? What's that? I'm not sure. I'd heard that before.
Move brokering, and a lot of times people will ask us if we're a move broker, and we're not. So we're an agent for a van lane, which is a lot different than a move broker. A broker is one of the ways that you can tell that you're working with a move broker, which, buyer beware, is, again, those deposits. That comes up frequently with brokers. And then really essentially what it means is your move is being sold to another company. They're kind of a middleman, and then they're selling it to another company. Yeah. So if you meet with me in your home and you say, I liked the estimate, I like the price, I feel comfortable with her, I want to go with this company, the last thing that you want me to do is go and solicit your move to another company that you don't have a relationship with.
Sure.
So that's what a broker is.
Kelly Kirkman is with Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Kelly, how can people, do you guys have a website, I assume?
Yeah, we do.
How can we reach you?
Yep, so our website is www.aqmsnationalmoving.com, or you can also reach us, which is a little easier, less of a mouthful, at losangelesmoving.com. And then we're, reachable by phone as well, 24 hours a day.
Yep, and you're also on my website.
Yes.
Yep. What's your website again?
PhilNordella.com.
PhilNordella.com.
Isn't your great voice? It's like I don't know, silk, right?
Silk. Yes.
Silky Rick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thanks,
having
Kelly.
me.
Thanks for
This
coming
was
in. We
fun.
appreciate it.
You got it.
All right. Real estate, it's that simple. Coming up, we're going to explain short sales. Yeah.
Short sales.
We'll be right back.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
A health threat anywhere is a health threat everywhere. I'm Dr. Phil. A new coronavirus outbreak called COVID-19 started in China and is spreading to many countries, including the U.S. It's critical to get the facts about how to protect our friends and loved ones. While CDC is working with states and communities to stop the spread of the virus, health workers and emergency response efforts need our support. The CDC Foundation, a nonprofit organization, is focusing on immediate and critical needs that help protect our communities here at home and those around the world. We can all play a role in stopping this deadly virus. Get updates, learn how to protect your friends and family, and find out how to help. Go to cdcfoundation.org. That's cdcfoundation.org. Together, our impact is greater.
This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the CDC Foundation.
Take the stress out of moving. Affordable Quality Moving and Storage has been owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1996. They excel at relieving you of the pressures of moving. You can be assured your belongings are safe and will arrive at your new location, whether it's down the street or across the country. Discover the difference. AQMS, Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Read the reviews online at aqmsnationalmoving.com. AQMS, Santa Clarita's favorite moving company.
Mold contamination is a growing concern for all of us, especially in our homes. Golden State Mold Inspections is Santa Clarita's leading mold inspectors. Be sure to protect yourself and your family with a professional mold inspector. Golden State Mold Inspections can identify mold problems and future mold challenges. Call the mold professionals, Golden State Mold Inspections. Visit their website for details, goldenstatemoldinspections.com. That's goldenstatemoldinspections.com.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
Hi, I'm Steve Cruz, and my wife and I own the local pub and grill. With 19 70-inch TVs, it's the best place in the valley to catch a game. We have a vast selection of beer, wine, and specialty cocktails to choose from, including our charity ale, where 10% of every pint we sell goes to Carousel Ranch. Our menu features classics with a flavorful twist. Come by for Taco Trivia Tuesdays at 7, Wines Day for bingo and karaoke starting at 8 p.m., and karaoke every Saturday at 9. Local Pub and Grill, right next to Bevmo on the Old Road. Support local, support community.
Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is a net from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets a net at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of homeownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and top knowledge to help make your loan experience hassle-free. Given her honesty, integrity, and attention to detail, she is the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get you the best loan, the best rate, and the best service in the industry. You'll find Marla Ferris at Marla, FERRIS.com.
It's a grand old park, and I found inside it an hour and beat man away.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Wilk, wife of Senator Scott Wilk, and that was our talented grandson Zeke. Zeke no longer lives in California because it was too expensive for our daughter's family. How many of you have had your loved ones move out of state? We want Zeke back home. FaceTime is just no substitute for being able to hold our little guy. Too many people are being crushed by high rents and housing costs, grueling commutes and high gas prices, even worse, homelessness. Scott Wilk understands because he's one of us. Born and raised in the high desert, he shares our hopes, dreams, and fears. Scott has and always will fight for us. U-Haul won't like it, but Scott is running for Senate so your family doesn't start packing. Let's bring Zeke home.
Paid for by Wilk for Senate 2020.
Got Wilk?
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Come back to real estate. It's that simple. Rick Garcia here with longtime real estate veteran Phil Nordella. Phil, but it's going to be a great weekend to go look at properties if you want to. Tomorrow, especially, will be in the 70s.
Incredible.
You have a place in mind that they may want to check out?
Incredible. Yeah, you know what? One of my teammates, Oscar Ramirez, is doing an open house tomorrow from 11 to 4 in Valencia on Hillcrest Place. Just follow the signs. It's in the Northbridge tract, which is a terrific area because, you know, we talked before about Melrose.
Yeah. Northbridge is beautiful.
Yeah, we talked about Melrose. Well, in Northbridge, they used to have Melrose.
Okay.
And because they're over 22 years old, it actually expired.
Oh,
and
nice.
so they don't have to pay that. And they have low HOA. So you've got the benefits of having these gorgeous houses in there and not having to pay an extra $500-600 a month for all the stuff you don't want to pay for.
So there was HOAs, and then in some neighborhoods, there were also Melrose on top of that.
Melrose,
Okay.
there's always HOA usually in the nicer neighborhoods, and usually there's Melrose, and that has expired.
And
so
this,
there is none.
This property is a short sale.
It is a
which
short sale.
Can be a good thing price-wise.
You know what?
It can be a little complicated
You're absolutely
too, right?
Absolutely. Let me kind of explain a short sale to you. So somebody buys a house, they buy it for $600,000, and the property value goes down to $500,000, and they have to pay on the $600,000 note, and it gets to the point where it doesn't make any sense, or something happens. Maybe there's a hardship. Maybe there's a divorce situation. Somebody loses their job. They get into an accident, whatever.
So they owe more than they're going to sell it for.
They do, and so they get to a point where they can't afford it anymore. So they have to decide. Okay, do we just move away, do we let it go to foreclosure, or do we do a short sale? And so your average person would say, well, I don't want a foreclosure on my credit because that could be up to 8 years, derogatory to where you couldn't get another house. A short sale could be 2 to 3 years, and there's a few reasons why the banks would rather have you short sell it. So they actually, when you come to them and say, will you accept a short sale, first thing they ask you is, what's your hardship? Right. What went sideways? Why are we eating the money and you're not, right? And so usually it comes with, you have to write them a letter saying, you know what, I got divorced and this is what happened, or I lost my job or whatever. And so that's the first thing. Second thing is, the reason why they would like to accept a short sale is because they know they're going to get the property back, and it's going to be in at least some kind of condition that it's marketable. So what happens is, if you actually let something go to foreclosure, people will rent the property out, right? So that when the bank actually gets it back, they've got a poison pill in there that they can't get out. That costs them thousands of dollars. Or they'll make it into a meth lab, right, which is terrible, okay? They don't do any sort of maintenance to the property, which means it's a scary thing when it comes to, I've seen homes, when it comes to short sales and foreclosures, that the pool is black. The water in the pool is black, which is very dangerous. So they can actually get these things back. For them to accept a short sale, they say, okay, while you're marketing the property, you have to keep the property in decent shape.
Right.
You can't let it go into arrears.
So the seller's going to sell for less than the value of the property. The bank is okay with that. Now, there are complications if you're the buyer.
Actually, yes. You know, not so much. The buyer comes in and the buyer realizes it's a short sale. And the buyer realizes also, because it's a short sale, that they're not dealing with the actual seller itself. Okay? So if Mr. and Mrs. Jones are in the property, they're no longer agreeing to anything. What they're doing is they're saying, look, if the bank says it's okay by us, right? Which makes it a lot easier, because then you don't have to worry about doing physical inspections and things like that, to where the clients are going, no, I don't want to fix that, or I don't want to fix that, I don't want to do anything. You're buying it as is, so you don't have that kind of drama. Because when you buy a short sale, and this is what you were talking about a second ago, when you buy a short sale as a buyer, you realize they're not going to do anything with the property.
Yeah.
You know, so what happens a lot of times is, a short sale, you'll take multiple offers on a short sale and send them all to the bank.
Right.
And say, you know what, and then what they'll usually do is they'll actually counter back with a multiple counter offer situation, and they'll take something usually that is going to be the best for them, for all concerned. So again, the value to that, to the buyer, also to the seller, I'm sorry, is not only will you have less of a hit on your credit because it's a short sale instead of a foreclosure, but also sometimes they'll give you money to move.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, you know, if they realize that you have no money.
So is it, from a seller's perspective, a much better way to go if you're in a position where you have to get out, you have to sell your property, don't let it go to foreclosure. We'll try to work with the bank and do a short sale.
Absolutely. Okay. And you know, the scary thing is 2008, 2009, we went from, because right now, you know, we have less than 1% of actually foreclosures or short sales. Less than 1%. So there's 3 or 4 maybe. In 2008, 2009, 40 to 45% of all listings were short sales or foreclosure. They were distressed properties.
Okay.
Ouch.
Now, as a buyer, the good news is you might wind up buying a home that has a little equity in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Possibly.
No matter what, when it comes to buying the house, you're going to get it for appraised value, because the bank will appraise the property, and that's what they're going to go for. If there's multiple offers on it, that's great. So anyway, so that but that's what this is. That's what if you go by there and see Oscar, you're going to find that that's the he'll be able to tell you a little bit about it when you're there.
We have a caller. Kevin is on the line. Kevin's a realtor who's going to be going out on his first listing appointment, and he's looking for a little advice.
Kevin, why don't you work with us? Sorry. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Phil. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Good.
Doing great.
What's up?
Hey, so I have a quick question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
I actually am a newer realtor, and I am about to go on my first listing presentation, and I was wondering if you guys had any advice or words of wisdom for me.
Well, first thing is, congratulations. That's awesome. How long have you been licensed?
For about 4 months.
4 months. Awesome. And how did you get this listing appointment?
Through door knocking.
Through door knocking. Excellent. I believe in door knocking wholeheartedly. I think that's terrific. So, a couple things I will tell you. Number one is, expect to be nervous. Okay? When you pull up, you're going to think that you're not worthy, and you should not think that way. Now, you've been training, obviously, whatever company, and I want to mention the company that you're working for because I don't know it, but they have some kind of training classes, correct?
Yeah, not too in-depth, but they do have training classes occasionally.
Okay, so have you seen a listing presentation so you kind of have an idea of what it's going to be like?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, and you've got the paperwork down, you know all the paperwork that you actually have to sign?
We've gone through a couple listing contracts, so I am kind of familiar with those as well.
Okay, and yet your manager or your sales trainer is not somebody that's going to be going with you. You're on your own on this.
Yeah, it's just going to be me.
Okay, so the way I work is and again, I don't want you to worry about this, but it's one of those things to where I always, if you're a newer agent, you have to go with me, so that I can make sure that you know just exactly what you're saying is right, because there's a lot to know, obviously. So what I would suggest is when you go out there, you're going to be nervous, you're going to have butterflies in your stomach just to see if you can't get them flying in formation. And then at the very end, when you go there, just ask a lot of questions. And then if for some reason they have a question for you that you do not know the answer to, please do not think that you just need to talk to give them some kind of an answer. I would say, I'm not sure what the answer is to that, but let me make a note of that, and I'll get you that answer shortly. Okay.
That's a good idea. So you make
Yeah.
a list of their questions, and you get back to them.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And no matter what, make sure that I'm sure that if you do sign up with them on an agreement, I'm sure that you've got a manager that's actually going to be looking over those contracts and to make sure that they're completely right. But I would say, do me a favor, go back to that company and say, look, I need a little bit of hand-holding. I need to make sure that somebody's with me, because you do not want to have your first transaction go sideways. Okay.
Kevin, good luck on that. We appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks a bunch, guys.
For
Good
those
luck.
of you out there this weekend that are going to go out looking for some homes, good luck to you. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. If you want to reach Phil Nordella and Associates, you do that how, Phil?
661-312-3561.
And your website?
Oh, philnordella.com.
philnordella.com.
You get all the information there.
Enjoy your weekend. Real estate, it's that simple. We'll see you next Friday at 10 a.m.
Yay.